We're live.
That is a strong start. Strong start.
Good timing. Oh my God.
I gotta post the link.
Kyle sharing the story. You know how it do. Sometimes it do be like that.
Go.
Yeah,
Where are we?
I realize I can't do that.
There we are.
Well, I guess they'll be on the screen. Whatever.
They tell me it's live.
Yeah, this is going to be a more laid-back episode here rather than the interview style. The plan was to kind of do one of these a month to kind of like recap what's been happening. As you can see, this is a little more chill. Doesn't look quite as good. We got the monitor up in the background.
You can see it.
Apparently, when I wear all black, my white balance goes off. I don't know. But yeah, we're here with Blaze and Kyle, BFS FAM. These episodes will be, just more casual, shooting the stuff, talking about what's going on, recapping previous episodes and whatnot. So to start it all off, it is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, which means it is the beginning of Pride Month. So let's start this off, guys. Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
The amount that gets quoted between this group is hilarious.
It's also the 21st anniversary of Killdozer Day, so that's also really important.
Cool. Well, how you guys been?
Alive, full of allergies,
Yeah.
very tired.
You're not allergic to podcasting, are you?
No,
I
pollen.
think I might be.
Yeah.
I was fine up until I came in here.
You know how much one Claritin tablet cost me at the mobile down the street?
$6. That was a guess.
$6.
Pretty good guess.
I thought it was going to be like a 5-pack
so
until
I don't gotta worry about it.
Because you eat local honey. That's why. Local honey,
I don't know.
localized pollen, gives
Maybe.
you an allergy.
It's possible.
Kind of a...
Yeah, so
Immunity.
I wanted to recap some of the stuff going on at the skate park and talk about up-and-coming episodes, recap old episodes, and then talk about my vacation, I think, and just see what happens. I want these podcasts to kind of be like when you're chilling on the deck at the skate park, because if you're over 30, that's what air quotes riding is.
It's more in the lobby now.
Yeah.
I just did that for 2 hours at the new Grease Park.
It's great.
You like the Grease Park?
Rode for an hour, sat on the deck of the...
By the way, if you ever have a session with Sealer, just tell me and I'll try and be there.
I should have texted you.
Yeah, it's some
really
nonsense,
should
dude.
Yeah. You close the skate park to ride with Sealer.
Like I said, I pulled up. I'm like, wait a second. I know that guy.
Is his back doing better?
As
Wasn't
far
his
as
back messed up? He
Yeah,
wasn't
no, it
riding
was
for a
messed
while?
up for a bit, yeah. I mean, he was killing it today.
Yeah, Sealer's the best.
Sealer's
Who
awesome.
else is out there?
He was like a ghost, though. Like, you see him, and you know you saw
Well, he
him.
lives like
but
an
he's
hour
so
and a half
rare
away.
to see that it's almost like did I really? Was he really there? He's awesome, though.
Well, we've had a lot of episodes since you guys were on. You guys were on episode 78. So there's been a lot of episodes since then. I kind of want to just dive in the beginning here and just talk about the dichotomy over the last previous episodes. We had on Tanner and Jaden and Jack, who all talked about one side of sponsorship. Then I was blessed enough to have Jay Rowe reached out to me to come on, and he got to talk about what it's like on the other side of the sponsorship world, at least for kink. And that was one thing he stressed a lot, is that he kept saying, oh, this is how kink does sponsorship. And I did reach out to Robbie Morales from Cult BMX today, and he is going to come on the show. So I did tell him I would like to contrast how they operate versus how kink operates, so just you have a little more clarity there, because there is this whole mystery of like how sponsorships work. So I'm gonna go down each one, starting from the previous one. You guys watched the Jack episode?
Yep.
I just like that one.
I think I watched part of it. There's a couple I missed.
Jack's the man.
Jack's awesome.
It's a bummer. He went back home for summer, or not home, Virginia or North Carolina. North Carolina,
I think.
Yeah.
Riding dirt jumps.
Yeah. It's a bummer when you have someone who's such a big piece of the scene and they go away. I really hope he ends up coming back to Rochester and staying here.
He's coming back to school, right?
I believe so. He's not
Keep
done
him
with
here for a little
school.
bit, then at least.
We did talk a little bit about where he was going to ultimately want to stay, and I feel like it's up to us to really make him want to stay in Rochester, because it seems like he really does like being down there in the Carolinas.
We gotta get some people on the weather then, and then hopefully he'll stay here.
Yeah.
Right?
His relationship with Sabrosa was interesting because he never even met the people sponsoring him.
Really?
Yeah.
So he said he just it was kind of just a bunch of mutual conversations and like, all right, we're gonna send you some stuff and put out this video, Ruckus in Cherry Valley, which is an awesome video.
It is a great video.
We discussed it later on, like after that episode here, just in the lobby of like, there's no spots in that video. It's just
unbelievable he got that good with literally nothing to ride.
Which once again, that's why he's so good at flat tricks. Is like there was nothing to not be flat on.
Yeah.
And like you said before too, there's a ton of like clips in that video that you're like, oh, that's the same building, just the other side of that building. Or oh, now it's the left side of that building with a different thing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting how his relationship with Sabrosa did mimic and reflect similar sentiments that both Jaden and Tanner said about their relationship with Kink. And Jack did say, I never met these people. So, but then Jaden and Tanner did get to meet the Kink people, but it still seemed to be very loose, not even like a handshake agreement. It was like kind of like a non-verbal, like, hey, and Jay kind of was like, yeah, you just kind of do your thing, and and
yeah, I feel like that's how it is in BMX though. It's very casual, not very set in stone. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll send you this, and no verbal agreements, nothing. You don't really meet the people that you're talking to.
Well, at least Jack said that Sabrosa's get 2 bikes worth of parts a year. It's like, at least so he knows that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Jaden and Tanner said something. It was just like, yeah, we'll help you out, and that's kind of what Jay said too. He's like, yeah, we help them out when they need parts and stuff. And I'm like, okay.
It's interesting that it's still that loose. Like I could understand 20 years ago when BMX was becoming new, and they're like, oh my god, I have a business and a bike company that's like, but I'm still this punk rock BMX guy, whatever, and everything's real loose cannony. But it's surprising that a company that big, these companies that are this big, are still like that.
Yeah, I have a company that's a fraction of the size of these big companies, and my team is like hardly a team. No offense, team. But it's like, they get 1 free session a month. They get BFS family pricing, which is half off on ride time. They get a discount on product, depending on the product, whatever I could swing. And I have them sign a contract. Like, this is what I want from you, which is like, about once a month, tag me in something you're riding. It doesn't even have to be here. Just make sure you're promoting. Put it in your profile, sticker on your scooter. And, essentially, he had E-Dog on the team to make me a video, and he kind of didn't do that. So that'll be handled at the end when it's time to renew my contracts.
Right.
He probably will not be on the next one because he didn't do what he said he was going to do.
Right. It's
E-Dog.
That's the kid. That's the kid, the scooter kid.
I see him at hardcore shows. All
typical filmer kind of guy. He's good, but he's not as good as his buddy, so he's the filmer guy. Nice kid.
He's a good dude.
I probably know him.
Yeah, you know him. He's like Harry's boyfriend.
Oh.
Pride Month.
It is Pride Month. That why it took so long for you to get here, because you're not allowed to drive straight anywhere. On
no,
Pride
I
Month.
can't.
Yeah.
No.
Same. All right.
It's such a long cut joke.
Jaden episode, that was pretty great.
Jaden's the man.
Jaden is the man.
Jaden's awesome.
He was just in town, but he was in town exactly the same days I was out of town.
So he was also trying to avoid you.
Yeah, apparently. He's very Austin Johns thought the E-Dog joke was funny.
That's cool.
Because it was funny. Raphael.
Hi, Austin.
Ralphie's in the chat. Remember Ralphie?
Ralphie?
Yeah.
Like old from back in the day,
Louis
Ralphie?
Two Coats tag team Ralphie, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the chat. He said, is that Blaze? It is Blaze.
It is.
In
It's
Pog
me.
form.
Where is it? This one?
Yes.
The one that's fallen over?
Yeah, it looks like me.
Jaden's awesome.
He's real measured.
Yeah, well, his dad's real measured.
Yeah. But, yeah. You don't always end up a lot, like, that good from your parents being good.
Yeah, and I thought Jay reached out to come on the show because I feel like Jaden, the way I guess you could perceive it as the way Jaden said it, the relationship made Kink look bad, although I don't really think that's the case. And
I would argue both of them made Kink look better than what I've heard from everyone else in town and everything I feel.
Yeah.
I would argue every podcast has been pretty charitable towards Kink. And I can understand why Jay would think not that, because if you don't know anything, even if you don't know anything, I still think it's a pretty charitable view of what happened to both of them.
So for the people that didn't listen to the Jaden episode, essentially Jaden was hooked up by Kink, made it on the AM team for Kink, which is the next tier up, which is it's official. You're on the website. They were paying for his travel. He was going to contests. I didn't know they were paying for his travel. That's awesome.
That's super cool.
That's expensive.
Jaden went to the team manager, Jay, who was also on the podcast, and told him, hey, what is it I have to do to be on the pro team? Like, what is it? And what Jaden said is that the King team manager said, well, you're so far away from it happening, and there's so much that would have to happen to get there that it's basically not going to happen. So that Jaden said, all right, thank you. I've had a good time. I'm going to move on and see what else is out there, which is what any professional athlete really would do. When he's going to the Vans Cup. Those are live streamed events. Like, that's a pretty big deal. He's on some big names in the sport. Like, he's getting better. He's making connections. And so that seems pretty reasonable.
He put in a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He put in a lot of work on top of being like just naturally talented. Like he put in so much work for it too.
And from the outside looking in, like, because he's from here, it looked like he's like, all right, I'm gonna hammer down for a year, maybe 2 years, and I'm gonna grind and film and see if I can get that paycheck out there in BMX.
Yep.
And if it doesn't come together in that time, well, then it's time to move on to
the next
starting
big
my
thing.
business or whatever, which is a very mature and reasonable way to do it, which is what it looked like.
It leaves him with a lot more options.
For sure, yeah.
Well,
And
like
at least
a
that
lot
way
of
you
other
can-
BMX people we know.
And,
say you
while he
tried.
was doing this, he was intermittently working at Phil's shop, learning how to weld. He has his own welding business now.
He's building
So,
out those vans.
Yeah, the guy always grinded, not on the bike because he was
No.
pegless. But I mean like working.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jaden can do some grinds.
Of course he can.
Yeah.
And he got to live the dream, dude. He got to live at Dennis Anderson's house, be on
sick.
Dennison's vlogs, travel the world, do Vans Cup, like.
Without really being like pro in that sense. Like, he left
Yeah,
Kink.
100%. He wasn't. Well, he was on Fly for a minute.
Right.
He said he'd got conversations with other brands that kind of never culminated.
Right, but it's one of those things that you look back on it. It's like, all right, I'm sure it was a risky move to leave Kink to begin with, but then he left and took that jump, that leap of faith of like, hey, maybe I can make something work, and he did. He lived it out. He got to go to these cool events. Like I said, lived with Anderson, got to be in the vlogs, got to experience cool things that may not have culminated had he gone the safe route and stuck it out at Kink.
Yeah. I will say one thing that actually kind of grinded my gears, and I didn't during the J Rowe episode, and I didn't realize till afterwards. And we're probably going to find out now if Jay actually listens to this show or just told me he listened to the show.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to address this. But when I asked him with his whole life in BMX, who are the biggest what if riders? And he mentioned Stevie Churchill and
Tyler Fernagel.
These were young riders who were real good and then kind of
Fell
like
off.
fizzled out. And he mentioned Jaden. And I'm like, how are you going to say Jaden's a what could have been when the guy went to you and said, what do I got to do to be pro? And you told him it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It pretty much came to you directly and said, hey, I want to be, I want to put the effort in. Where do I have to put the effort?
Yeah.
And it was pretty much, all right, your effort's not going to get you where you think it's going to get you.
And although, to play devil's advocate here, based on what Jay's philosophy around BMX, it sounded like he didn't want to push pieces in place. He wanted to see pieces come together and then be like, there's the fit. There, more like maybe more artistic and less like.
He's not cultivating good riders or a scene. He's just picking stuff that's already there that he likes and curating it.
Curating is a great word. Like when I was asking him, what are you looking for? He's like, oh, I don't know. It could be this, a little bit of that. I want to see that they're doing their own thing. I want to see, maybe
It's all vibes and feelings and, and good, like all that stuff.
Yeah, I can appreciate that because that's more like BMX as an art form and
Rather
less
than a
like
business.
as a business. Yeah. And like clearly it's worked. I mean, Kink's had a great team for a really, really long time. So you can sit here and try to criticize how he's doing it.
No, it works for them, but
yeah.
it's like if you don't fit into what his idea of BMX and what his idea of Kink is, then it won't work. And Jaden does not fit that,
Which
that's
is
part
why
of why
true.
it never works.
That's true,
Like he straight up said that he's like he wants to curate his own his ideal version of what Kink, and he really drives the brand. It's him, Matt, and Zach, and mostly him and Matt rather. They really decide what goes. He decides who's on the team. They do all the the final say on all the art stuff. They're really driving the brand. So if you don't fit in with it, like Tom was always an insanely good rider from Rochester, rode a lot like Jaden back in the day, and he was never pro. He was really on the AM team again, like went and got into the trades rather than actually being a pro rider.
Way more money in the trades.
Absolutely.
Of course.
But someone like Tony kind of, I think he was a bigger name before that anyway. He moved into more of the street riding stuff that everyone started to gravitate towards. So he started fitting the brand more, and so he came up.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was trying to allude to is like Jay doesn't seem like he's the type of team manager that would say, well, if you want to be pro, you got to ride more street and you got to, it just seems he's just like, no, you just do you.
And if it fits, it fits.
The right fit, then you're good. And again, I could totally understand that because it's worked. There's definitely
it works great for King.
There's definitely brands out there where like the team looks like it doesn't fit. Like it's like you see like you see a team and you're like, oh, those dudes are hanging out together. It doesn't seem like they would get along.
Right.
And I could say I think Doyle kind of felt like that a little bit on King.
Yeah. Well, it's like Mira being on Road Fools.
Yeah.
Well, you look at it now too, and like Doyle and some of the other guys who like have ridden in the past are on S&M now. And
Here's the thing about
you look at
BMX.
Moeller. Here's the thing about BMX. You look at Moeller's team, and it's like that team kind of makes a lot of sense. That's a bunch of like there's not a whole lot of street dudes there. It's a bunch of like burly, doing flips, dirt jump guys on 20-inch bikes who ride for S&M now.
You could criticize that as being like he's just scared. He's not trying anything new.
I'm not saying anything about
that's
that.
how Ricky got in trouble.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say that, but like that's the curated look for S&M. Like S&M's team fits S&M's look now. Kink's team is a bunch of street riders. Like you don't see a whole lot of Kink's team in the woods or on ramps. It's just not their vibe. So
right
now, you never know what BMX is going to look like in 10 years, but that's or what it looked like in the past. That's why I'm curious to see like if not if but when Robbie comes on, I'm curious to see Robbie's methodology on it of like, all right, Jay curated it. Do your own thing. If it fits, cool. We'll support you to the max. If it doesn't fit, then you're kind of going to sit on AM or flow until you figure out how to fit into this puzzle. I want to see what Robbie thinks because Robbie. Cult started in what, 2010?
2010 till the end, baby.
2010 till the end. Dude,
2010 was the peak of BMX.
Absolutely.
Dude, Robbie's, I think, like, become a force to be reckoned with in BMX just in the short amount of time that company's been around.
Well, I would say they shape the trends of BMX more than Kink does.
Yes.
Like Cult is Cult.
Yes. Cult is...
Well, Robbie's always been on the ball, man.
Yeah.
He was part of T1.
Yep.
He was part of Fit. The most iconic videos, the most iconic branding.
The most iconic
has
teams.
Always been with him. But then, I've heard the other side of it from industry people involved that, like, like everything, there's criticisms to be made. And I was, like, kind of shocked to hear that because it was like, oh, shit. Like, everyone acts like Robbie's, like, the guru of BMX. But just because you're good at BMX and picking riders and cultivating a team doesn't mean you're great at running a business, right? And it certainly sounds like no one...
Except for Zach.
I mean, Zach is certainly good at running a business.
Certainly.
But from the team side of it...
I think that's hard. Did I say that before the podcast started? Or was that after when I said that, like, it's kind of an antiquated model of, like, running a team. It's your friends, where it's like BMX is aged past the, like, hey, I'll just give you a sprocket and we'll go on a trip together,
Maybe it's aged past it. I think something as art-based as BMX, there's a lot of room for interpretation with how you want to assemble a team. And I think as the sport matures and gets older, I think teams are probably going to end up being more niche, like skateboarding.
Yeah.
Skateboarding was always, like, way, way ahead of BMX in that you couldn't have a team that was like this type of guy, this type of guy, this type of guy. You kind of went for like your brand, your style of skater, and here's all these dudes, and it seems like a bunch of dudes that would pile in a van together and go on a trip.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get someone who's like into it, the aesthetic.
Right. And that's like, it's before my time, but like Road Fools. Like that is the prime example of that.
You haven't seen Project X?
No, I've seen Project X.
You haven't seen Project X?
The new one? the J-Row Project X?
That was a deep cut. I don't think anyone on the podcast is going to get that one. That was good.
Rich will get it.
Oh, Rich will get it. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. But with like J-Ro now is trying to do what Road Fools was with the whole
Yeah.
Project X
he
thing.
explained it on there.
Right, which like that's
it's
cool.
cool.
I think that's.
I've heard nothing but good things about that. Everyone's told me to watch it.
It seems like they're working on the new one right now too. By the way,
It seems like in the current media landscape, something like Road Fools would make even more sense.
Yeah.
Because of how casual the content is. You could have everyone that's on the trips posting the stories. You know,
Yeah.
like there's
the
and you- and you
reels,
could-
the
you could,
TikToks, whatever.
Tag everything and share it into one count, so you can kind of keep up with the event as it's going,
And then see the final.
Presuming if you were to do that, you'd have to have it kind of edited kind of quick because you wouldn't want people keeping up with the day-to-day stuff, but then waiting a month and a half for the video.
Yeah.
So you'd kind of have to have like filmers and video editors like with the teams like doing it like, you know, next day kind of stuff.
Right, exactly. Like, all right, all these clips that we got today, we're editing it into the van on the way back to the hotel, kind of thing.
Or you could do like each day is having like almost a vlog-ish feeling thing, and then at the end you'd have like the best of the best, like you know, then you could wait 2 weeks and here's all the bangers, you know.
Right. Which like that's kind of how Project X was the first one that they put out, is because it looks vlog style. It's kind of like, all right, here's the first day. Here's what we're doing. Like, here's all the B-reel. Here's everything we're doing, whatever. And then, all right, the next day we're going to this city. And then we're going to this city. And it's kind of all the, you know, it's the tricks. It's the bails. It's the hard, you know, hits to the ground. It's all the B-reel. It's like, this is all that stuff could be social media posts.
I used to sit in school, and this is a long time ago. This is
You went to school?
2003, 2004. I used to sit in school and, like, daydream about Road Fools showing up at my local skate park. And then it happened.
Did it?
It wasn't
the
Road
best,
Fools, it was
dude.
Megatour, and it was the QBP team. Yeah, that's also a deep cut. There's only a few people that understand that joke.
That's funny.
But Carl Pointer was there.
Did he backwards?
Yes.
Did he
Yes.
just backwards around your whole skate park
Yes.
with the
Give it
slider,
away
backwards
free.
slider?
MSW tires.
Sorry for non-BMX people. This is a very BMX-centric episode here. What do you get? You know, what do you expect? We're all BMX guys.
Well, the last couple episodes have been very BMX,
Yeah.
you know, with
Bride flip,
Jay and
kick flip. Does that help?
yeah.
Not at all.
Backside Madonna. I don't know. It's cool that, like, and this is personal to me, but being at Kink for the 3.5 years and like hearing the rumors of like, oh, why this isn't working out, why this person's leaving Kink, you know, why the team's doing this, whatever. And then being able to like hear it from Jaden of like, this is why it didn't work out, this is why I left. Because that happened. And then there were all these rumors of what happened and, you know, playing telephone as to the reasons why he left or what pushed him away. And, you know, then you actually get to hear it like, oh, this is the reality of it. This is why he left. This is what was going on that I didn't know about or that, you know, none of us knew about. And then you hear it from Jay of like, oh, you know, here's what goes on behind the scenes. Here's the things that really happen, like that you guys don't see, don't experience, don't hear about. You know, here's what it's like to be sponsored and how to get sponsored and why it doesn't work sometimes. And the whole time I'm sitting in my little office chair going, wonder what's going on here. Like, it's cool to hear it. Like, all this time later, you actually get to, you know, hear it firsthand. It's cool.
What the heck?
Oh man, they got us. They finally
How's
got
that
us.
even possible?
We're still capturing audio, which is kind of cool.
Well, the audio is coming from somewhere else.
Right here.
Right here, right now, brother.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
How is that even? It's not even hot in here.
It's getting hot in here. I'm sweating bullets.
It is warm, huh?
I'm wearing a tank top and jeans. I'm
It's
sweating
not cold.
bullets. I need another lemonade.
Yeah, you do lemonade.
Grab two.
We're having camera malfunctions here, guys. Sorry for the audio listeners. Apparently, my camera got too hot and shut off. We'll have to get some air conditioning in here or something in the studio.
Air condition the skate park. Why is it so hot in here? Why don't you just air condition the skate park?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Matt Smith's episode. Did you watch that?
No.
That's hilarious.
I watched a couple of them.
Yeah, it's all good.
I watched the Jay one. I watched the Jaden one. I watched Tanner one.
Well, Matt Smith, you see all those STEM buddies and everything. That's basically what he's doing. He's saying he's almost making enough money making those things
Really?
that he can quit his job.
That's so awesome. I feel bad that I've been meaning to rewatch that one because I loved when Matt Smith lived here, and I have a STEM buddy on my bike, and
Yeah.
it saved my knees, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And Matt's the man. Matt's a reason why I do peg dings. He did a air out on the 7-foot and came down and pegged the top of it. I'm like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I'm going to do those forever now.
So you didn't do that before that? That's crazy.
It's him and Paul Rad, because Paul Rad did the downside ones all the time, and I thought that was really cool. And then I saw Matt do the one on the 7-foot. I'm like, that's it. He started doing more of them, and I was like, I'm going to do that all the time.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Matt's a good dude. It's crazy. He's hand making those things all day, every day.
They're very consistent.
We talking about the stem, buddy?
You're just not going to get Dave a lemonade?
I thought you had 2.
No, this
Oh,
is
you
from
finished
like
it already?
3 weeks ago.
Oh, I thought you
Would
had
you like
2.
this one?
I'll get you.
Yes.
You drink lemonade?
Yes.
Since when?
Oh, Ralphie in the chat said the Stevie episode was awesome.
I couldn't listen to that one. I listened to Stevie talk enough. I didn't need to voluntarily do it. I love you, Stevie. But I didn't need to listen to that
if
one.
Kyle wasn't going to be available for the show, I would have had Stevie in as the third party.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. I think Stevie is a good triangulation between the two of us. It would be funny.
Yeah.
Certainly would be funny.
I think it would have been a
this is-
different dynamic. This is great,
Yeah.
but it would have been a funny and different dynamic
Yeah.
for sure.
Keep that door open, Kyle. I think all this equipment in the room is really raising the temperature.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to set up a fan in here. I'm planning on insulating the whole room here so that it's not as hot.
Leave the door open for some
Raising
airflow.
here?
Yeah.
Which one do you want more?
Well, I already opened this and took a swig.
Okay, well, drink it. Take that one too.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We're just drinking beer on the show because this is the BFS FAM show. I know it's supposed to be family friendly, but this
Beer's
is
family
it.
friendly.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not. They're not drinking it, man.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Oh.
Oh, again?
Well, for the visual listeners, I'm going to leave the camera off for a few minutes while it cools down.
Did you watch the mayoral debate?
I did not watch the mayoral debate.
It opens with, for the visually impaired, will you describe what you look like?
No way.
I swear to God, it's amazing.
Oh my God.
And like Mary Lupin was very excited
Of course she
to
was.
explain exactly what she looked like, and then Malik was not that excited. He was like, I'm a black man wearing a red tie, and this is why I'm running for mayor again.
It'd be funny if he was like, I'm about 6'4", a little heavy set, blonde comb over,
Yeah,
orange complexion,
yeah,
red tie.
yeah.
I'm a good looking guy.
Just as he explained it, he slowly got more and more into the Trump voice.
Our first question in the Rochester mayoral debate: give us your Trump impersonation. The voters, we put a poll out, and
Yeah.
this was the #1 issue.
Stevie Pallo runs from behind the stage.
Stevie's gonna run for
wins.
mayor. Yeah, Stevie's gonna be mayor.
Dude, I want to run for mayor.
Yeah,
You've been talking about this for a while.
And it's either going to be I'm going to leave Rochester and go live in the woods somewhere, or I'm going to run for mayor. And I think about it
do both.
all the time. Like
Our mayor
how-
might as well be living in the woods somewhere, the amount that he does for the city.
Well, freaking the last one, Mayor Warren, lovely Warren, she wasn't even living in the city when she was supposed to be.
What?
Yeah, the whole thing where her freaking husband
Had
selling
like
drugs
drugs
out
and
of her house.
guns out of her
and
house.
He had guns.
But she didn't know
that
about
were
that.
previously confiscated by cops, meaning he somehow got them out.
What?
Yeah.
I remember that part.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, everyone knew she lived in Fairport, not Rochester. And you're like, oh, wow. And all politicians are bad.
Yep.
I don't like politicians. They're terrible. When we did the Friends of the Roxy skate park to get the skate park built, so much of what stymied the progression of that park was political nonsense. And then finally, once it started happening, every single politician was just like, they were like stammering over themselves to try to take credit for
something they
Orban.
stonewalled.
And there was 3 different politicians that said, if it wasn't for me, we would have never got this funding. We would have never got this freaking skate park. And Danielle Lyman Torres, who was the director of
Hell of a name.
Parks Recreation, she came to one of our board meetings. She was a bitch, dude. Like, it was not nice, frankly, because the type of people that get into politics are narcissists. They want shit to be about them, and we were just trying to do the right thing at the skate park built, and I guess she wasn't getting enough credit, and we were doing things that weren't run by her, and you have to run it by her, and then fast forward 2 years, the skate park's getting built, I saw she's wearing a pair of freaking brand new Vans, and I was like, I bet you this. She just went to the van store and bought some Vans because she's.
So
going to
she sent an aide to go to the van store.
Yeah. And then, when she had her chance to speak at the podium at the grand opening of the skate park, she's like, I got my Vans on. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
At least wear etnies.
All these politicians, dude, they hardly do anything for the constituents in which
It's all the people below them.
Yes. Is that a...
I was laughing because, never mind, I probably shouldn't say that one.
Right? The problem is like the incentive structure, These politicians get... The main voter in Rochester and probably most cities are like middle-class liberal women.
Yep.
Right? So then you get these politicians who campaign on helping underprivileged communities and people of color, et cetera. You all know, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. Then they get in power and they literally do nothing to help those people. But then you look at the nice parts of the city where the people that voted them in are, and man, those parks get a lot of attention. Those parks get the renovations and the updates. When you look at the El Camino Trail through Ave A, B, C, D, you look at any of the parks that are in the crappy parts of the neighborhood, and those parks are atrocious. There's glass on the side of the road. The sidewalks suck, and it's like, well.
Whereas they rebuilt the park at the end of my street on University.
Yes.
For no reason. It was perfectly fine.
And I don't know how this can keep happening before the people who vote this in, or at least the low-income people in the city who are just being pawns for this, start to realize, well, I'm not going to vote for these people because they're not actually helping us.
Listen, Mayor Malik is bringing Rochester to the world.
Which parts of the world?
Rochester may not realize it, but he's bringing it to the world.
That's what Jay wrote joke.
That's what Jay said about Kink in Rochester.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that one.
Because he's a politician.
At least that part of that episode.
Yeah, it just grinds my gears. I feel like a better place for me wouldn't be the mayor, but would be some in park and recreation.
Yeah.
Because like the kids really are the future.
Right, but that's the thing though, is like you get into a position in Parks and Rec, and then
Like
every
that
single
show?
person above you, good show. Every single person above you just pushes down whatever ideas you have. Like you get it passed by anybody who needs to get passed by, and then the final person, it's like, all right, I just need this person to give it an okay, and it's vetoed. No, not happening. It doesn't fit the budget. It doesn't make sense. Whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, look at Greece. That's a sick park. Ton of people there today, and there was some event going on too. There were food trucks, and Zach Brown tribute band was there and everything. I didn't even know that was going on until I rolled up. No, not Zach Wild.
Who's Zach Brown? The country.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
There's a tribute band for him in Rochester. They do a bunch of shows, but they were there. A bunch of food trucks. It was cool, and ton of people at the park. In lieu of that, Fairport's sick. That park's awesome, or Parenton, whatever you want to call it. Rock City's getting an expansion. Eventually, whenever
start this winter.
Yeah. When was the last meeting for that? I feel like I was at the last meeting for that. It was 2 years ago.
I mean, I'm on the board and I don't even know.
I know.
Like we basically don't even have board meetings anymore. I don't even know if there were even a functioning board anymore.
Right. Well, that's my confusion is. I mean, not to sidetrack now, but like I think I was the last meeting for it, and it was at the school on South, across from the hospital.
Oh, that meeting. Okay, yeah.
When it was announced, like, oh, there's going to be a phase 2 and 3, and it's going to start this winter.
I think there's just a second phase. I don't think there's a second and third phase.
I thought they were both starting at the same time.
Well, yeah, I think they got lumped together because it was going to be like bathrooms and stuff as one phase, and then the riding as features as the other phase. I think they're just kind of all happening together. But all the foundational work for the bathrooms and stuff was done in the first phase.
Right.
Like the drainage is already there for the second phase.
Yeah.
The plumbing and whatnot is all already underground.
That's good.
How do we feel about bathrooms at that park?
It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Do I think it's better
House
than
park
running off
bathrooms
and-
are usable, right?
I don't know.
I vaguely remember them being
it's
okay.
good for skate parks to have bathrooms. It's a real big problem in a lot of
Urban
outdoor
areas.
sports communities like mountain biking, where especially for women,
Yeah.
they don't have the what's the word, amenities that dudes can just like piss wherever. Women don't have that pleasure,
Right.
and it is a pleasure.
Just walk off
But-
in the woods and go
yeah.
piss.
But yeah, the downtown skate park, that would be rough. Right there in downtown, a public bathroom is probably going to be an issue unless it's monitored, and they certainly has to be locked.
Well, it certainly has to be within the fence.
It has to be inside the fence, and they probably should have to lock it. But it's still going to be a problem just because it's downtown, it's Center City. You do that anywhere, and honestly, I don't even mind them locking up the skate park downtown. It was a problem, but if you look at Payne's skate park in downtown Philly, well, it's actually not downtown. It's over by the art museum. That park was proposed to be built when I was a kid. Not a kid, in maybe 2003, 4, 5 in there. It didn't get built till just before I moved here, and it was awesome looking. And now you look at it, it looks like crap. It's just covered in spray paint and not good spray paint. It just looks horrible. When you put a park in a center city, it really kind of needs to be fenced off and monitored and have lights that shut off and in a way that people you want the people that ride it and respect it to be the ones using it, not the people that don't care are just there to hang around and F off.
Right, and that was the thing I remember when the park got built, and anytime there's anything, even remotely bad that happens at that park, and it ends up on, the Facebook pages or whatever, and everyone starts complaining and bitching about it, no one realizes it, but it's not the people using the park to its full extent who are doing it. Like when there was all the graffiti in the bowl 3 weeks after the park opened, that wasn't anybody who was actually skating and biking and scootering there. That's some dude who walked off the road and thought, this is going to be funny, and just spray painted penises in there. It wasn't funny.
It's kind of funny.
But it's a little funny, but it made all of us look bad.
Yeah.
And then next time when it's like, hey, we want to give an expansion to this park, so they can cover it in graffiti and all this other stuff? Nah, no thanks.
I do think Rochester, the riding scene community, has done a pretty good job with the downtown
of
park.
maintaining it.
I would agree. It's been open a few years now, and it looks great still. People respect it. People go and clean it. People don't when the guys show up on ATVs and motorbikes. No, everyone's just
kicks them out.
Get out.
Oh yeah. Everyone's
okay.
everyone's just ready to throw rocks at those people.
No.
Well, the viral JJ video
of
that dude showing up, it's that ended shortly after.
King of Rochester, dude, or whatever.
King of Rochester, JJ. No, it's cool that everyone kind of banded together and pushed that out. That doesn't really happen anymore. And if it does, it gets bit quick. But
I think that's a different issue than the bathrooms, though. I think that's
no, I think that's
I think people who need or want to use and abuse a space like that are going to do it, and that's a tough line to ride of amenities for people who need it at the skate park versus people who are going to find it and take advantage of it.
Yeah. I think when you pair that with the general momentum of soft on crime policies, and you're going to open up a public bathroom that's supposed to be there for skate park users, but we all know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
What's likely to happen there, and if the municipality is not being diligent about keeping those people out of those areas, they're going to be there, and I would fear that having that could tarnish the skate park's reputation. Like you were saying, when something does happen, it's all over the news. You check the comments on any of that. Every time the skate park's on the news, read these comments, and there's these freaking boomer old people that think skate parks are the worst thing in the world.
Oh, dude,
God, of course they're doing drugs down there.
Right. It's either those or it's no offense, but it's the parent and moms who are freaking out. Oh, I'm never letting my kid go to that skate park. It's it's just
Isn't
any other
every
skate
mom
park,
parenting?
man. Maybe. Unless they're not.
Yeah.
Did I ever show you the video when I was in Seattle? I went to this crazy bowl in the city, and it was in a homeless encampment.
Gee whiz.
That's
it
awesome.
Was gnarly. Everything you could see around you was just a tent city all around. Wow. I think there was a town hall, a tent.
Someone's the king of that.
Yeah, someone was the king of the. It was
the 6-person tent with the tubes that connect different.
There was they turn into structures, dude. I don't know if you've ever seen that stuff in person. It's pretty wild. There was cars that certainly haven't moved in many of years.
Yeah.
Built in with all their setup is. I mean, the ingenuity in it is impressive. The toll it takes on the town, I don't think, is very good. But
I don't know. Some of those people, they're not dumb. They're just poor. Very, very.
Sometimes by choice or not.
Yeah, homelessness is a tough one because most people they choose their addiction over normal life is the reality of it. Because there's lots of resources for those people, but almost all the resources involve you being sober, and those people would rather not be sober than
be helped.
So it is.
Hey, go to the emergency room. It's strong right now.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are there.
Well, when
It's tough.
Aaron went off the deep end when we were building the skate park,
Yeah.
you know, alcoholism is a problem, and you know he ended up homeless. His car was repossessed. It got really ugly there. His attitude, his demeanor completely changed. He literally told me that like when I start drinking, this is what's going to happen. And I remember the day that like he had it was a Jenny Light. And
I was
like,
here for that. You were like, "You cool? Man? Is this cool with your thing?" Like I remember that exact moment.
Yeah, and pretty quickly it got really ugly, and next thing you know, he's hitting people up, asking for money, and homeless, and you know, he was going. Was it Lady of Mercy downtown? I think.
Yeah,
and he's
right
like,
off of Plymouth.
We're like, dude, go there, and he's like, yeah, but if you know, you can't bring beer in there, you know, and like you have to go early to get a bed. So if I go early and try to get a bed, but then I leave to go get a beer, then I lose my bed, and I'm like, then don't
beer.
go get a beer, you know.
Right,
And you
you'd
could
rather
argue, you know,
drink
it's
than
addiction,
sleep.
it's a disease, you know, it's tough, but like, that's sad.
It is sad. You heard of him recently?
He comments on some of the stuff on Facebook. He's been in Montana for a long time.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
He's like in Big Sky, right? Or no?
I don't know.
He's probably in Bozeman.
he wasn't that tall.
It's Big Sky out there.
Addiction's no fun.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah,
When I was
it
on
sad.
vacation, I packed up the whole podcast rig. I brought the whole thing with me, only to never do a podcast. And I was gonna do one while I was camping, and my brother wanted to be on the podcast, and he wanted to talk about addiction, but he was too busy doing drugs the whole time.
Should have just done it while he was on the drugs.
No,
That's funny.
but I would argue
love that guy.
It's like a healthy. Drugs aren't healthy at all, but a lot of the programs, recovery. My brother, you know, he was a heroin user, and he's been clean for a very long time. And they tell you, oh, you're an addict. You're always going to be an addict. You know, don't do anything that's addicting. Blah 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 blah. My brother is like, you know, she's like, screw that. I'm not an addict, and he's, you know, he recreationally uses drugs. He's an adult. You know, he can do what he wants. And sometimes I ask him, like, hey, like, is that a little bit much? You know? He's like, once a year when I'm camping. I'm like, okay. But that's very different than. I feel like if you take it out of sight, out of mind, you never touch it, and then one day all of a sudden you're like, oh my god. I feel like then you might fall into the black hole, but it's like keeping it at arm's length.
It's discipline.
Yeah.
It's a massive discipline. I think it comes down to if you're not disciplined, if you don't know your limits, if you don't know your boundaries, if you don't understand what can happen and what will happen, then you fall off the deep end. But if you have some experience with it and you've seen it happen and you know, you've been exposed to it and you have some level of discipline, you can be like, I can be recreational. I cannot, you know, be a degenerate about this. Can
And
have
for
fun.
For clarity, I'm talking about like weed products,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He's not,
when you say
he's
drugs,
not like using opiates or
No, he's not
pills or
shooting up
anything.
heroin
Yeah.
around the campfire.
No, of course not. And my brother's not a drinker; he never was. He will have a White Claw here and there, but you know he's a weed guy. I'm
Happy
not a
Pride
weed
Month.
guy.
not a big weed guy either.
No,
Not a big weed guy. I smoked weed like a couple times when I was younger, and I just what do they call it, greening out. You get way too high. After that, I was like, no thanks. This is like,
I just do beers.
yeah, I like beer. Beer's
Drink
good.
to that, brother.
Amen.
Cheers.
Happy Pride Month.
So, speaking of that, I want to talk about my vacation I just went on, which is
The only
God,
vacation you go on.
I
I don't know if
I
anyone.
do 2 a year.
Oh, you do too?
Yeah.
I thought it was just this one.
I closed the skate park the week around Memorial Day and the week around Labor Day, so I get 2 vacations.
Gotcha.
And it was always May was the same camping trip I've been doing. It's a 40-year tradition. The other trip would be random, this or that or the other thing. But now that I have a wife and kid, I guess the math is a little bit different. And my Dara and Alice, my wife and daughter, came on the trip because, you know, if the skate park's closed and I'm gone, Dara has to work. Then someone would have to watch Alice because I watch Alice. So basically, if I went on the trip alone, Dara would have to find a babysitter or call out of work. So I was like, oh, I guess
Even the financially smart move would be to make everyone go on
just
vacation.
call out of work and come on my trip. And, you know, what's always been the trip with my boys and my buddies. So I was like, well, Bring my wife and kids.
It's family time.
That was always the joke. You were just going to show up to the camping trip with the kid that you didn't tell your best friends
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So it was like that, but
And it was great.
yeah.
It was so great, especially now with this doing almost one video a day, to just be somewhere. I got there Saturday around 1 p.m. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And Tuesday I started to head out. So from all that time, I basically had no cell phone service, period. Phone was off. Oh, was that nice.
Got a little break from having to be the...
But not even really, because the one day I went out and I filmed like three skate park review videos.
Dude, the one that you filmed...
Those aren't live?
What, is that not?
Oh, man.
The stripper doesn't like me?
You mean she's not into me? It's like when the dude, I think the bartender's got a crush on me. No, she doesn't.
That's her job.
That's her job. She wants a tip. No, what was the like the metal prefab park?
Oh, Jamesburg.
Jamesburg. I almost said Jamestown, but I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah, I lived there.
That park.
I lived like a block away from that park.
Dude, like the flat rail, and you were like, oh, it's
That
got
was a
this.
good way you presented that on the video too. I didn't realize that
Yeah.
that was the one.
But I was like, oh, that's a sick flat rail. And then I was like, that's not a sick flat rail, actually. It looks pretty rough. And then 30 seconds later, you're like, oh, it's actually broken.
Someone commented on it. A guy I know that lived in Monroe, the town next over, who was like,
Oh, you were
Big-
like, I'm Dave. I ran the bike shop.
no,
Or is
different
that
guy.
video?
I don't know who that guy was.
Oh,
This guy, Terrell. He had a whole bike thing, made videos. He's one of the first people I ever knew that was doing bike videos. He works in the film industry now. He commented on it and tagged someone. He's like, I guess so I never went there and fixed it like he said he was going to. And I was like, oh, shots fired. But I lived like 2 streets down briefly. And like you just like ride right over. And I rode
Yeah.
that flat rail was always good. That was one of the first skate parks I ever rode. It was only probably, before I lived in that town, it was probably only 4.5 miles, maybe 3 miles from where I lived. So it was very close. We used to literally ride our bikes there. Me, my buddy Tom, sometimes my buddy Irk. And then we knew like these like 3 or 4 girls that like lived there. So we had this like, let's go hang out with the chicks, you know? But we were like 15, you know? It seemed like, if you were to ask me, I would say, oh, it must have been a 15-mile bike
Yeah.
ride. And then I looked it up while I was there. I was like, oh, it's like 4 miles, 3 miles.
Yeah. Well, when you're riding...
that might as well be 15 miles on a BMX bike.
Or you're riding 28.9, I'm sure it felt...
No, dude. This is 44-16 days, dude.
Woof.
Yeah.
Big boy sprockets.
And my buddy Carrie, who skateboarded, he skated there with me before. He had a longboard. He'd throw his you put the backpack on, and you put the skateboard between you
Yeah,
and the
And
backpack.
the longboard there.
And then he would like push the longboard, and I would like pull him, and he did that shit. Mongo.
Gross.
Gross.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is Pride Month though, so shout out to everyone pushing Mongo out there. Sometimes it do be like that.
Camera's not having it.
Dude, when I skated and I would have to skate, my parents wouldn't drop me off, but I would skate to B Park
Yeah.
from Clarkson.
Yeah.
And I would just put like 56 mil longboard wheels on my board, ride there, and then swap the wheels off and ride B Park. And then I realized that I sucked at skateboarding, so I did BMX. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Still suck at BMX, too.
Well, hey, my vacation was great. I think vacations are important if you work a lot. And if you don't work a lot, then screw you. Don't ever take a vacation. Go to work.
Every day's a vacation for you.
Every day is a new day. I got to, I love it. I go in the woods. It's nature. Part of owning a skate park is tough. It's like, I'm always in this building. It's very geometric. Everything's in straight lines, you know? It's very,
Not this month.
no. And then I just love getting into the woods where everything's just like organic. I camp next to this creek, going there for my whole freaking life. You know, and my buddies, man, they want to listen to music, and I'm like, no, don't want to listen to music. I want to hear the birds chirp, the babble of the creek, my friends farting. We've all been camping. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I went while you were gone because I didn't know what to do when you guys weren't here.
I also
camping?
I went camping. I went to the old forge.
Oh yeah.
There was some You always think, oh yeah, I'll sleep under the stars. It'll be so peaceful. There's coyotes screaming all night, which was sick, by the way. The first like 8 times, and then it's 4 in the morning. The woods are freaking out. It was not quiet, not peaceful. Pretty awesome though.
I got the
I like the sounds.
The weekend you left. I got like the duality of living in a big city and living in a. Because I was in Toronto Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, and then from Toronto I drove to my family's camp up near Pulaski in like upstate, and there's nothing there. It's on a dirt road you'd miss if you weren't looking for it, and I look for it and I still miss it. And you drive down this dirt road for like a solid mile, and then it opens up into this huge field. And in the way, way, way back corner of this field, my dad and I built a cabin over the course of a handful of years, which was cool for me as a, growing up as a, young teenager wanting to stay in my bedroom and be on my phone and, do whatever. My dad was like, no, we're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's the middle of winter. We're going to build the rest of this cabin. I'm
That's sick.
All right, fine. And I hated it. I hated it every single weekend. And then I got a little bit older and was like, oh, I'm hanging out with my dad. This is fun. This is cool. I enjoy this. And then now I get to drive out there and enjoy it, the fruits of my labor. And it's cool. So I went from being in Toronto in some massive city, walking around and there's tons and tons and tons of people and so much noise, to being in the middle of the woods, sleeping in the bed of my truck.
That's cool.
And it was awesome. You just wake up, you'd cook all your food over the fire. I'd get to sit inside and, just hang out with my family in a cabin that my dad and I built over the course of 5 years. It's cool. It's a good time. It's a good getaway after Toronto.
That's sick.
It was a good time.
That is really cool.
So, I definitely relate to what you're saying about being out in the woods and experiencing it.
We avoided much of the bad weather. It was tough leading up to, you guys all know it's been, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit with how the skate park's been because of this bad weather. It's actually been really, really great for me.
It's been a very wet spring so far.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So when we camped, it was overcast and kind of cool, but mostly avoided rain. But when I was packing up to leave on vacation, it was like, it just didn't stop raining for 3 days. So I'm outside trying to load my car in the rain. So I ended up not even putting the roof rack on my car. So I didn't even bring a bike with me. And I went to like 7 skate parks without a bike or skateboard. So I have a lot of skate park review videos on deck. But what a bummer.
There's a if you're ever up in that area, I don't know why you would be, but with the bike share maybe, but in Oswego there's a skate park. I'm sorry, not in Oswego, in I think it's Pulaski. I think Pulaski itself
has a skate park?
has a skate park. It's a bunch of metal prefab ramps.
Yeah.
And they're all miscellaneous colors.
Who was telling me about that? Hornback? Who's that dude? He lives up that way.
That name sounds familiar.
He rides with Davey.
Oh,
Davey Mira?
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his first name though. But yeah, it's a metal prefab park, and every side and face of every ramp is a different color.
Yeah.
But I found out, I don't know why, it wasn't like they fundraised it and they got money for it and they built it. It was built for something. It was built for an event or for some purpose, for some fundraiser. And that's why it's there. I couldn't figure out for the life of me what it was, but yeah, somewhere at some point that was built for, I don't know, some event. Go there though. It's a cool park. It's prefab. You cannot skate it. It cannot be skated.
It's not even skatable. That's how bad it is.
No, it's not skatable. It's like Jamesburg. It's that concrete is so shot 6 ways to Sunday. You cannot skate it. I wouldn't even scooter it.
I went to multiple parks on my trip that were unskateably bad.
Multiple
Parks that were unskateably bad.
Oh my god.
Solid work.
Oh, we got the wide view.
Ho, ho, ho.
Makes the room look crazy.
That's a cool angle.
This feels like a cabin.
It does kind of. It looks like a cabin.
Yeah, so
It's a good thing nothing
wait
counts
for
in
some
here.
of these skate park review videos I'm doing, dude. They're like,
I should have done that with some of the parks I went to, man. The out west, there's some really awesome ones, and there's some really janky bunk ones.
well, I went to Port Jarvis. I'll tell you a funny story.
yeah.
Port Jarvis, for those who don't know, aren't geography buffs, is New Jersey comes to a point at the top, and right where Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey all meet is Point Jervis. There's actually a stupid rock in the Delaware
yeah.
River. You can go look at it. Wow, it's where the three states meet. Cool. But Port Jarvis is pretty
is
cool.
cool.
They have a bunch of trails up in the mountain. It's like down in the river valley, and then goes up steep real quick. And there's a bunch of trails. There's a pump track. There's a skate park. Cool little downtown. There's actually some cool train stuff there as well. And this
Nerd.
skate park is the worst skate park I've ever been to.
Whoa.
And I just edited the video, and somehow I gave it 1 star, which is more stars than I gave Jamesburg. But it's bad, dude. I can't, like, there's giant holes in the ramps
Oh,
at a skateboard
that's
wheel,
pretty
which is
bad.
hit. There's these concrete features. The concrete's just like crumbling away. It was on an old roller hockey rink, yeah. And there's these gaps in the pavement that I literally stuck 2 fingers into it. That's how wide the gaps in the concrete
Whoa.
was. Like, it is straight up a public hazard that this skate park exists. The only thing that's good about it is that you can see one of the best pump tracks in the tri-state area right next to it. And I went into the bike shop there, which was called Edwards in the chat. What up, dude?
LeBron? Hell yeah.
The bike shop was called Never Lost. It's like bike, water sports, and they do disc golf as well.
Water sports, huh?
Yeah, really cool little bike shop. And I was talking to the guys there. I told them what I do. And they're like, yo, when you upload your review, tag us in it. He said the town, might be a city. It's pretty small. Either way, the municipality already has $450,000 bookmarked for a new skate park. And they're trying to like massage it along, as we spoke about earlier. These processes could be long and grueling. And he's like, tag us, and like we'll literally, send it to the city and be like, yo, this guy travels
Reviewing skate parks.
He
Yeah.
said this thing is gonna kill someone. Like honestly, this skate park was that bad. Like it's a danger. It's open. Like
Wow.
like it would be better for everyone if it was gone. That's how bad it was.
That's bad.
Like terrible. And the pump track's sick. Pump track is like really awesome. So
That's cool.
the story I was going to tell. I pull up to the pump track, and it's like packed. I think this was actually on Memorial Day, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a little circular pump track for the kids, and then like a big one, multi-directional, like this kind of thing in the middle, like hips, berms, doubles, like
With like the wood stuff on it too?
no wood
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
I didn't ride it. so-
Concrete? Or asphalt?
Pavement.
Pavement? Yeah.
I didn't ride it, so it might not be as good as it looks, but it looked pretty good. It looked like there's stuff you can jump and like it looked. Yeah. So I walk up, and I walk to the top, and I take my phone out and I film, a panorama or whatever, and this guy's like, "Hey, you're the breaking free guy, right?"
Nice.
And I was like, "Yeah." Fuck, freaking.
You an internet celebrity now, dude?
Apparently, and then the guy's like, yeah, he's up in Rochester. He's got the bowl from Cranks, and he goes to his buddy. He's like, you've been to Cranks, right? And he's like, oh, I went there once, And his buddy had like a profile, like some limited run profile hubs on those a claw,
Yep.
carbon rims.
Carbon
Oh,
rims.
Yeah,
jeez.
like this dude had like a ridiculous bike.
Jeez.
Probably like mid 40s kind of
Yeah.
guy,
$2,200 bike.
at least. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. I used to try when Dance Comp had like a web store. I would go in and try and build like the craziest, most expensive bike I could. It was like hard to make $1,000 bike.
I think you can do that on
15
Source
years
now.
ago.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Straight
Kidding?
fork bar, $1,000.
Dude, I sit in my
That's
living room. I'm like,
insane.
that's $1,200. That's $1,400. That's $2,000. I'm like, I could just sell all these.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that you're internet famous.
That
Yeah.
happens to me like once a week. Actually, I have another funny story.
Oh.
Funny stories for the podcast. I think I told you this. I don't know if I told you this. I was like, dude. So I talked to my wife. I go, dude,
You literally call your wife,
we're
too. I've heard
leaving
it.
at 6:30. that's when we're leaving, you know?
Leave at noon.
Yeah, we woke up around 6:30ish.
Well, because I was in the ER that whole night with Patrick, and I was waiting at 6 in the morning. I know Dave's going to be up for this trip. I'll finally text Dave back because he'll be awake. I had been up the whole night. Did I tell you about that?
No.
You hear about that?
Pat Gannon.
Bailey?
Pat Gannon broke his finger off. Like it was hanging off. Like it was like curled around and like hanging off.
Yeah,
He smashed his chin. He broke his jaw, and
on a scooter.
Yep, on a scooter, jumping the
dangerous,
box to the lip of the box in the street section. And he said he got like just a little too pitted and just came down sideways and just smacked his chin. He thinks maybe his hand was under his face. And it was.
Yeah, it was. He opened the paper towel around his finger, and his fingertip was like basically hanging on by a little bit of the skin, and his bone was out. And it was one of the more gnarly things, probably the most gnarly thing.
Dave and I have seen some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
And seen some people fall, and we were both like, "All right, who's taking him to the hospital?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was like, "Blaze, take him to the hospital."
Yeah, you were like,
Yeah.
"Whatever I gotta do, help you out." And then hospital time's weird. I spent the whole time, the entire night in the hospital.
Dude, it was gnarly.
It was bad.
If I may, not to segue too far from what we're talking about with, you leaving at 6:30 in the morning, but I was in Pittsburgh the second weekend in May, and the guys in Pittsburgh, Keystone Crew, released their first full video part. And it's all these Pittsburgh guys riding street. It's super awesome. Go check it out if you guys haven't seen it yet. But I went down because they premiered it, and one of the guys down there, John Irv, his parents own this like event center. It's actually a church, and they call it Shiloh Center. In the basement of this church, they have a DIY that they built. It's so sick. You literally pull up. It's a church building, and you go upstairs, and it's a church. There's pews. They've got like the organ or whatever is still in there, and you go in the basement, and it's ramps. It's so sick. But they went and premiered it. All of Pittsburgh and a ton of other cities came out and watched it. It was really cool to see how alive the whole Pittsburgh BMX scene is down there. We rode DIYs all day, but some kid like went up, didn't completely air this quarter and put his foot down and just like bent and snapped his leg.
Jeez.
And like we're all drinking beers, hanging out at the DIY, everyone's taking videos, everything's cool. And the second everyone went to go like run over to him, all of us were like, pound your beers, put the coolers in the car, we're calling an ambulance, everyone go to the next DIY. We like secured like 5 people to watch him. The second the ambulance pulled up, we're like, all right, let's go, because this is just traumatizing. Nobody wanted to be there for it. It like killed the mood.
The old tib fib.
Yep. But
At the ankle's bad.
Yeah.
I was lucky with mine.
I've dislocated my shoulder
In
more
the
times than I
leg.
can count, man. All right, so 6:30 in the morning you were leaving?
Yeah, 6 in the morning.
Oh yeah, so I get up.
This is a good one.
Away from our segue.
And things are feeling kind of nice, so we had a little intimacy time, kicking off vacation,
Yeah.
which is rare when you have a 1-year-old, especially for it to kind of happen organically. And for you young guys, you single guys, you think, oh, you could just,
Now that
have
works.
intimate moments when you want. It's really tough when it's like you have to try to schedule intimacy because then it takes away from that like spontaneity of it all.
Spun.
But anyway, so we do this.
Bless
We're kind
you.
of taking our time. Well, she's taking her time. If anyone's ever traveled with a woman, you'll understand.
Yep.
And I'm getting kind of like annoyed, and then you guys know how women are. And I can say that because this is a skate park and women aren't allowed here, and no women will listen to this podcast. So, and if this offends you, it means you're a woman.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. So,
That's good.
my wife's like, oh, I gotta pick out yarn to bring. Okay.
Feed the
She
tarantula.
goes, I gotta feed. No, it's not a tarantula. She got this spider. It's like this big. It's like smaller than a dime. And I gotta feed the spider. I'm like, what?
Feed the
Can't even see
spider.
the
You gotta
spider.
feed this. She's this little spider, and she bought it for herself on her birthday in this little plastic box. And she's gotta feed this spider. I'm like, so I'm getting all annoyed. I'm like, oh my god, dude, we gotta go. And I did remember a few things I had forgot while I was sitting there waiting to leave.
Yeah.
Pillows, kind of an important one.
I keep forgetting my phone charger.
Yeah. So anyway, we finally leave the house. It's nearly 8 o'clock. I'm like,
How far is the drive?
it's like 4.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
So we leave. All I got to do is go to Wegmans, get ice.
And
Get beer.
ribeyes.
No, I got the ribeyes.
Okay.
Ice and beer.
Ice and beer. I'll grab a coffee.
The essentials.
And I'll probably grab a Danish for the drive. And so I get to Wegmans. And I'm like, stay in the car. You're going to slow me down.
Just going to go
So
off
I just
buying
shoot into
things.
Wegmans. I'm like power walking through Wegmans, which I have another story about. Power walking. through
Writing
the store.
down power walking on, on the script.
Grab a coffee,
Power.
grab a Danish, stop. Pick out the perfect beer. Yeah, all right. Get to the self checkout. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I got my wallet out. I got I'm holding my ID here as I'm scanning. So when the woman comes over, she could just check my ID for the beer. And then she hits me with this one. We can't sell beer till 8.
You can't sell beer till 8.
And I'm like,
Two
what?
to eight in the morning.
I'm like, what? So I look at my watch. 7:58. And I'm like, so I'm going to have to wait here for 2 minutes? And then one of the other cashiers goes, well, the way the software is, it will not let you read
it
through a
won't.
beer sale until 8:01. I'm like, I have to wait here for 4 minutes?
Yeah. Their inventory system has SKUs set with locks on them.
Yeah. So I waited there for 4 minutes until I could scan the beer.
What beer was it? I'm curious how worth this was.
I got Space Kitty
Okay.
and the all-day West Coast IPAs.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty worth it.
And I already had the Aldi fake Guinness in the cooler.
Oh, what is it? McGuire's?
McGuire's,
It's
yeah.
pretty good.
So, thankfully, my wife made me run late, so I was able to buy beer.
Yeah.
So I got in the car and I said, honey,
Thank you.
I owe you an apology. Thanks to you, I got to bring
drinking
Space
beer this
Kitty
week.
on the trip. So I cracked my beer at 8:01,
Yeah.
and we hit the road.
Oh, really?
No, I'm kidding. Because sometimes it do be like that.
Well, you're not finding Space Kitty at a corner store.
No. Other story from the camping trip. This is after the camping trip. I'm at my mom's house. This is another trying to please your wife story. When I was at my cousin's house, she had these like, it's so funny, these like mocktail drinks.
Yeah.
And it's like,
We sell them.
it's like,
It's a non-alcoholic beer with alcohol in it, or it's a non-alcoholic drink spiked to have alcohol in it,
and then not.
and then non.
So it's
Yeah.
Oh
basically-
wait, it's a non-alcoholic version of an alcoholic cocktail
so it's
drink.
like a
That's
soda.
pretending to be.
It's just like a soda.
I remember
it's a
I said this in the
paradox,
car
is
the
what
other
it
day,
is.
and it made perfect sense. But that's insane.
Yes. So
It's like a
my
white.
cousin Vicky they were called, I think, Recess.
Never heard of them.
And they were like, I don't know. So I'm at my mom's house, and I got to run to the store because I need to film for my Polaroid camera. And I figured,
I'm also
maybe
out of 600.
Wegmans has it, And I said, honey, do you need anything while I'm out, And she goes, oh, if you can get me some of those drinks that Vicky had, they were very nice. You got it, honey. So I shoot over to Wegmans, and this is New Jersey, so in New Jersey,
I've heard this story. I'm gonna go to the bathroom
Beer.
while I tell this one.
and liquor come from liquor stores, and beer is not sold in stores. Like in New York here, you can buy a beer literally anywhere. In
That's how-
Jersey,
that's how Canada is.
You have to buy beer at a liquor store.
That's how Canada is.
And the Wegmans at my mom's house, and there's only like 2 Wegmans in New Jersey, and one happens to be in the town I grew up in. They have a liquor store connected, but there's a separate door you have to go in. So I go to the Wegmans, I'm checking the drink aisles, I'm looking for this drink for my wife, can't find it. I find the same brand, but totally different type of drink. Go into the liquor store, don't have it. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just buy flowers for my mom and my wife show up back at
Yeah.
the house with some friends over. Look at this nice guy buying no flowers. Well, they had flowers. They all had like the $40, $50 bouquets. Whatever. I'm not buying that. So then I'm like, all right, I'll open my phone. Where can I buy Polaroid film? Oh, Best Buy. There's literally Best Buy, the shopping
Yeah.
center over. Go to Best Buy.
We buying 600?
All sold out.
Of course.
there's two kinds. They have all the packs of the one kind, not my kind. I'm like, great. Where else can I get this stuff? Oh, there's a Target back at the Wegmans. So I go back over, go to Target. And so like at this point, I'm like power walking through the store. And this is where the power walking comes into the store.
This is that power walking story.
Yeah. So I power walk down one of the grocery aisles to like the wall of like seltzer drinks. And as I approach, there's two young girls, probably sisters, looking like maybe 11 and 14, something like that. And they hear me coming, they look at me, they look startled. And as I power walked up next to them, and I'm like scanning meticulously for this drink, I could see them at my periphery, like they're freaked out.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of like moving back and they're like whispering to each other, like I don't know, you know. And then the direction they started heading is the direction I started heading, and they started to panic, and they literally like scurried, like half ran down one of the aisles to like get away from me. Like they literally thought I was like a predator.
And they just so happened to run down the film aisle of this.
No, they didn't. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, imagine like they call security or something.
Yeah.
Like,
this dude's following us.
but they did have the Polaroid film.
Oh, nice.
I did get the Polaroid film, and then I went back to the Wegmans.
Pick up lemonade?
Oh, was I supposed to?
I don't know. I was just figuring.
I went back to the Wegmans to get the drink, the closest option I could find for my wife to bring it back. For her to not like it. No, I'm kidding. She liked it.
For her to not like the drink that she asked me to pick up.
Yeah. But yeah, I think these young women thought I might have been a
Predator of some kind.
Sort of abduct
Freak.
target. Like
The Target abductor
also,
of New Jersey.
These girls are kind of dumb though. Where I was in this Target was like nowhere near the exit. You're not going to try to abduct someone in the
You have to
farthest
drag
corner
them
of
all the way through the store.
You get them in the parking lot. Duh. Come on.
You unlock the trunk before you get them.
Crazy, dude.
Oh, thanks, Ralphie. He blessed me.
Yeah.
I don't get a blessing.
Very nice.
Yeah. But the camping trip was good. It was short-lived. It just feels like it goes by so fast. Just like time goes by. It goes on.
Don't stop.
Yeah. And I wish I could have more time off. But I got to come back to the grind.
Pretty
Keep
much.
grinding.
Oh, I was gonna ask you this off camera, but then you actually started talking about it. I travel a bunch because I have time off of work. You want me to start doing some 2-minute skate park reviews while I'm in San Diego or Canada or wherever I end up?
Sure.
I'm going all over the place.
Sure.
I'm gonna start filming some.
Sure.
All right.
It's sick because I'm getting people commenting like, go to this one, go to that one,
Yeah.
review mine, you know?
Well, like even then, we were just talking about skate park reviews now. I was like, yo, go to the one in Fulton. Like
It is a really simple, good idea too. And it's the type of video that does drive engagement because people are going to be like, you know, everyone's got their opinion.
right, and you're hitting different marks from different places around where we are, and on top of it, it's going to be the slow season at the park soon. The content has to
It's
keep
the
coming
slow
somehow.
season. We got to talk about that.
Oh, we're going to talk about the fact that the rain.
But funny, Parlette reached out to me, the plumbing skater from the earlier episode. He's like,
Yeah.
how's your engagements doing? I said, good. And he said, like, keep pushing on Facebook. He said, Facebook's a little bit different. He said, don't just post videos, post pictures and like ask questions, try to drive comments. So one of the really terrible skate parks I went to, they had this really awful ramp. And I just posted a picture.
Right,
like,
I saw that.
What the heck
What do you
would you
even
do
do
on
on
this
this?
ramp? And dude, the comments people were
Blew up.
saying were like, dude, you're not doing that. Like, I think it's hard to gauge the size of a ramp a lot of times in a picture, but it was like 3 feet wide. It was like a 3-foot mellow bank to like 6-inch ledge.
Was that at Jamesburg?
No, that was in Milford, PA, and that review is coming.
Okay.
And it is bad. This skate park has a mini ramp that looks like someone built after the fact, which is actually pretty nice, 4-foot. But the rest of the park is terrible.
Sick.
Jimmy said sick Danzig hat.
Thanks.
It is a sick Danzig hat. And the fact that it's a trucker hat makes it that much cooler.
Goddamn
Yeah.
right.
What hat?
Death Rattle Market. Hat and shirt combo.
I like your hat too.
Marvin Heemeyer. Tread on him.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
I'm wearing a Kink
So
BMX t-shirt
the
with
skate
a...
park I went to, imagine you had like a paved lot, and then there's a drain in the lot, right? And obviously where the drain is, the pavement has to like
Yeah.
go down.
Kind of has to dip a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, so these were old school prefab wood ramps, and like the metal plate was over where the drain was. So at the bottom of one of the banks, there was like literally 2 inches of gap from where the metal plate was to the asphalt because there was like a divot in the pavement.
Oh my god.
Like
That sounds
dangerous. Dangerous. And the rail was like longer than the bank. So the rail ended up being, I'm not joking, it was like 4 or 5 inches off the ground at the bottom of it. It was just so weird and terrible.
Dude, these are like 2 identical case-to-face situations on the same ramp.
It's so bad. And this skate park was not far from the one in Port Jarvis, which was also terrible.
horrible.
It's like these are the only 2 skate parks for like a huge distance, and they're maybe 10, maybe 20 minutes apart, and they're both horrendously bad.
So I'm assuming the street scene in Jersey is pretty good.
Well, this is like PA technically. But actually, Port Jervis is New York, and Milford was PA.
Oh, okay. All right.
Idiot.
Sorry, I'm not up to date on my geometry.
Yeah, so let's talk. I wanted to talk about May, actually.
Thank you for getting
It's gonna be May.
And for once, for the first time in what feels like years, I have a bit of good news.
Woo!
Yeah.
Drink to that, brother.
Yeah.
My beer's empty.
Yeah.
Because of how terrible and cold and rainy our spring has been, I just had the best May I've ever had,
Let's go.
which is still less than covering my bills.
Oh. We gotta get a sound effect for it. Or just keep inviting Blaze and just have him in the corner of the microphone.
Pretty good with that.
Yeah, I did.
Tuck chair soundboards.
And for context, everyone knows my rent is. I think everyone knows my rent is 10 grand.
It's 10 now.
Yeah.
Jesus
And,
Christ.
I just.
What was it originally? I
God,
thought it was
let me
always
tell you
10.
about. I have another thing too.
Oh, no, it got negotiated.
I thought it was 8 before.
No,
Sure, it's no.
it was never 8.
Oh.
So I did $14,000 in sales in May, which is the best May I've ever had, which is only marginally over my
Operating expenses.
because it used to be $1,000 for electric. I'm still getting heat bills because for some reason my heat bills are like 2 months off. So I just got the March one in June.
Lousy March weather.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
but that's good. The other thing is I just had my CAM reconciliation. And for those of you who don't know, the way commercial rent works in some cases is you pay 1 rate per square foot for rent and then 1 rate per square foot for CAM, which is common area maintenance. So that's like the plowing and the mowing and all this other crap that they probably don't do that well. And they charge us the taxes on top of that, which is kind of annoying. So then they estimate what the CAM is going to be and the taxes is going to be. And then at the end of the year, they look at what they actually spent. And then they give you a reconciliation based either you owe us money or we owe you money or whatever. And the
They
CAM.
never owe you money.
No, they have. They have.
That's good.
Yeah. It's normally pretty close. This year, the CAM reconciliation was I owed them $5,600. Which sucks.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's like
it's
half
a
your
lot.
rent.
Yeah, it's a lot of freaking money for something that's like,
I was hoping you were going to finish that sentence at 56.
no,
$56.
$100.
Bucks.
$5,600.
And look at these friggin' windows.
Yeah, and it's like,
No
your
wonder the
door.
heat bill's so damn expensive.
Yeah.
What windows?
And your door.
And the fact that I keep setting the alarm
I
off.
emailed them and I was like, listen, I run a seasonal business. This is a huge unforeseen expense. Can I just amortize this over the next 6 months? Can I just give you like an extra $1,000 a month? Like this is, I
Yeah.
don't
It's
have that
detrimental,
money. Are you
yeah.
kidding me? And like, that's a huge
Just get more money.
issue with like, how are they that far off?
Just sell more sessions.
But this is just one of those things that it's just how it is.
That's atrocious.
How it is. And
Did they let you amortize it?
they never answered my email yet.
No, that's good.
So I
got
don't really
lots
know.
of stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a tough one. I was like, what the heck?
Sheesh. Yeah, that one's rough, man.
Yeah. Dude, that's a lot of money.
Dude, I don't know what I would possibly do if someone was like, "Hey, you owe me $5,600 tomorrow." I don't have $5,600 to just throw.
Well, I've been not paying a bill for the alarm company. If you remember.
Is that why you keep setting the alarm off?
It might be. I've set the alarm off like a couple times.
Really?
With him. Oh, dude, I called him yesterday. My motorcycle was sitting outside, and I came inside to grab my helmet. And for some reason, I put the alarm code in, set the alarm off.
Oh.
I'm like, dude, I'm sitting there putting the alarm code in. I was like, I gotta call Dave. Did he change the alarm code on me?
No, you're just doing it wrong.
I'm clearly doing it wrong.
I thought I did it wrong, and then I didn't.
I also have this really bad habit of I'll set the alarm, but I set it wrong. So when you walk in, instead of having like a 30-second leeway to like put the alarm code in, it just immediately starts blaring at you.
Oh,
I
that's wrong.
don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Just do the code.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do the code, Kyle.
What was I gonna say before you cut me off?
That was beer.
You were
Prorate
not paying
amortize,
the
okay.
$5,600.
If you remember, the alarm panel kept beeping for a while because something was wrong with it,
Right.
and they kept calling me and being like, "Oh, your thing's messed up." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
I'm sitting here.
And
It's
they
not
keep
going off.
putting it into like a reserve mode so they don't call the cops every time it loses power.
Oh, that's why they didn't
And
call
then,
the cops on me on.
No, they called
other
me.
day. Oh, they called you?
Yeah, they
Oh, I
called
thought
me.
they were calling the park.
Sometimes they call the park. Sometimes they call me.
Oh.
But yeah, so then, I called the alarm company. I'm like, yeah, I got an issue. Like I have this error code. The alarm is beeping every 2 hours. It's like annoying. And then it took them like a month and a half to get someone to come out to look at it. Right.
Right.
The guy comes out. He looks at it. He's here for like 20 minutes. He's like, oh, it's your bell booster.
Right. I think we discussed this because then
And-
Blaze was like, "Yo, it sounds like a nickname for some dude who like gets
the-
crazy air
yeah,
on the
the
ramp.
bell
That's the
booster.
bell booster." And you were like, "Oh, I think I can do this myself."
Well, there was a different fire guy here working on the landlord stuff, and he looked at it and he's like, "Oh, it's probably the the booster panel. It probably needs to be replaced. They don't make them anymore." Blah blah. So when my alarm company came and looked at it, he told me what the guy said. Yeah, the panel's bad. It's supposed to up basically those alarms that flash and the blaringly loud sound. The normal system doesn't have enough power to do that, so this secondary panel
It's like an amplifier to
yeah,
it.
it's an amplifier essentially. And I was like, yeah, fix it, So it takes them like a month and a half to finally come here and look at it. The guy's here for like 20 minutes. He's like, yeah, the panel's bad. It's gonna be like $750. And I'm like, cool.
Fix it.
Yeah, like just do it. Like let's go. And then like another month and a half goes by. I'm calling them like, hey, like, is this guy gonna come fix it? Like he came, he quoted it, he told me how much it was gonna cost. Eventually he comes and they fixed it. They replaced the panel. Cool, great. And I'm just waiting on this $700 invoice, right? Then I get an invoice for like $1,030. I'm like, the hell is this?
Some
And it took them
labor
like
rate
another
on
like
top
month
of
and a
it?
half to send me the invoice, and they charged me $260 for like the diagnosis. They billed me for like 2.5 hours of time, and then they billed me like the 700 and change for the install, which I thought was kind of
Disingenuous.
yeah. That's not. They didn't say
Not
hey,
forthright.
okay, we're looking at, 226 for the diagnosis. It'll be another 700 for the install. He just said, oh yeah, he came, he looked at it, and he was like, yeah, this is $700. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I just paid the $700 invoice and didn't pay the other one, and they've sent me like 3 letters now saying I owe them the money. I'm just gonna call them one day and be like, explain to you what I just said. Like, yeah, kind of
It was on your behalf. It was diagnosed before they showed up.
yeah.
You knew what it was. The one
I'm
fire
sure
guy
they'll-
knew what
I'm
it
sure
was.
they'll say some shit like it costs $150 to send someone out. It's an hour a
it's
drive,
100
whatever.
These alarm people charge $117 an hour,
Jesus.
and the hourly labor charge was $188, I think. So they billed me for an hour and 3/4, I think.
How much does the tech see? How much do you think that guy got paid?
I don't know.
But I
But they
mean,
were
still,
here
like,
for freaking 20 minutes. They
you should
weren't-
just send him the security footage of him being there and leaving.
Yeah, right.
It's like, it's 20 minutes. Is that an hour and 3/4? No.
That's
The
atrocious.
hell?
Even if they say we only bill hourly,
Yeah.
so like if
It
we
should
show
be
up, it's 1 hour.
$117.
It's 1
Yeah.
hour. There should be no 0.75 in that at
well,
all.
on the list there was like 2 people because there was like a second guy there. It's like, oh, so you're charging me for the second guy there who just watched the other guy do it? Like,
For 20 minutes, which is still
Yeah.
less than an hour?
yeah. So when I feel like it, I'm going to call them and tell them that, and I'll tell them I'm not paying this invoice. So either give me a deal on it, or I'm never paying the invoice because it's frankly BS. Especially because it took you 2.5 months to fix the
Yeah.
thing.
I don't know. It's atrocious.
That's some business owner stuff.
The house stuff, too. I had someone come and fix my furnace 2 years ago. I never got an invoice from them until I got a collections invoice, and then I paid the company that fixed it. And then I still get collections mail about it, but they spelled my name wrong, so it's like
It's-
Blay.
Bleh.
Yeah, it's like BLAHE. Owes Bocasino Heating $400. But they're also, the collections agency's only open like Thursday to Saturday, so I've tried to call them, but I forget because it's like the middle of my week and I just don't do it. But I paid them, so I don't know. They must have not told the other person.
Weird.
Dumb.
It's tough. There's so much nonsense with running a business, like running a skate park. You think it's just like, oh, it's just hanging out at a skate park and fixing ramps. It's like, no, it's a billion other annoying things that just never freaking stop. And a billion people that call you or send you letters or emails being like, hey, do you want to donate stuff to our gala donation raffle?
donate
No.
a gift card.
No.
No.
How about a session?
And,
No, because that's $20 not in my pocket.
yeah. And in the coming, the next month or so, we're going to have a lot of really good podcast guests who are going to know about this. I talked to a lot of other skate parks. That one I just did the post of the video of the Level Up skate park. He's
This
coming.
was sick.
Yeah, he's coming up. He's not coming up. He's going to be on the show remotely in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Mike Potasniak
that's so sick.
Yo.
from Wood Room.
From Woods Room. Originally the
Woods-
Wheel
Is
Mill.
it Woods Room or Wood Room?
I think it's Woods.
Woods Room. Yeah, he's going to be on video in the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully in September, I'm trying to drive down there. I told him I want to bring a couple guys, do a couple of days worth of free work for him, and
I'll
then we
go.
could do another podcast in person.
Dude, I'm down.
I think that'd be cool.
Me, Colin, and some buddies went down to one of the welcome jams one year. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Welcome Jam in 2022 or early 23. That was awesome. I will say that, not to interrupt you on the podcast, guys, but being down in Pittsburgh, I was in Pittsburgh when the video got released of them announcing that they had found a spot and they were going to start putting everything up.
Googe.
Googe in the chat.
Googe is in the chat.
What's up, dude?
The Googe is sick.
Hell yeah.
That was another great podcast.
That was a good one.
But being down in Pittsburgh when it got announced that they'd found a spot, that's all anybody was talking about.
That's so sick.
At the DIYs, at the video premiere, when we were out at bars, whatever it was, riding street, nobody would shut up about, yo, this is going to be so sick. Like, I can't wait to go ride it. I want to help. I want to do what I can. Like, it's sick seeing that scene come together that heavily.
You ever cross paths with Coddle when you're down there?
I'm sure I have. I'm not sure I know his face.
Okay.
There were so many people at that DIY because they had a couple hour long jam before they did the video premiere.
Cool.
There were a ton of people down there. I'm sure I ran into them. I don't know. The BMX scene is very live and well in Pittsburgh.
Hell yeah. Jimmy's down. So there's another new skate park that just opened in Beverly, New Jersey, which is right on the...
Hills.
No.
That's where I
no.
want to be.
No.
No.
It's right on the Delaware River. Looks somewhere between Trenton and Philadelphia. I had a hour-and-a-half conversation with one of the owners today. It's called Rad World. That skate park literally opened on the 31st.
Is that an indoor park?
It is an indoor park. He's going to come on the show. There's 3 owners, from what he said. One is a skateboarder who owns Skate Academy, which is, I guess, a very small indoor spot in Philadelphia where he teaches skateboard lessons and has some ramps. Then Adam, who I talked to today, he's the BMX dude. I think he's on Bone Death, actually. He's pretty good. and then the third person is a non-financial owner who's just like the ramp builder.
That's cool.
And it's a cool spot. It's like multi-level, so the main ramp space, I guess they have nothing in there yet. They just have like some small modular ramps in one room, so they're kind of doing like they're easing into opening. They're gonna get some cash flow and build some more stuff, running a bike shop out of there. It looks pretty cool. The dude's got a broken leg and a brand new baby and a full-time job. And again, we talked for like an hour and a half. So I gave him a lot of advice.
Close your skate park?
Yeah, no.
Run while you still can.
He can't. He's got a broken leg, dude.
Yeah. He said he had a baby,
No, that's
and then like 4
that's
weeks
rad,
later he
dude.
was in a car accident and he broke his leg.
Oh my god, that's tragic.
And that was the same. I think he said this was the same week he signed his lease or something. It was
Oh.
like- and then he went through.
Gotta even it out.
And you'll probably get this, Blaze. He said they went through, I think, 4 months of inspections to get like the green light. So they're paying rent for 4 months, waiting on like building
Getting a
inspectors,
C of O.
all that bullshit.
That's
so-
the worst.
Yeah. So he's going to be on the show, and that'll be great to talk about. What he's going through to get this thing open. It'd be great to have him as a recurring guest. Like
No,
More
from
power
the-
to this guy.
from
Like,
the
fucking
beginning
hell
and,
yeah.
and bringing the whole thing up. I also on my trip I went to Level Up Skate Park.
Yeah, that was when you
cool
posted
little one.
today, right? Or yesterday?
Yeah, that's the indoor one.
Yeah.
The owner of that park is going to come on the show as well in the next couple weeks. So I have a lot of really cool skate park guests coming.
As well as
That'd be really
possibly
cool.
what, Robbie? Maybe?
Yeah, Robbie's gonna come on. I'll tell you something funny. The owner of Level Up Skate Park was not there when I went there, but he had a girl who was working, and so I was just talking to her a little bit, and just talking about some of the turmoil and opening a skate park. What's that like? Freaking camera keeps overheating, and I said, well, yeah, I'm like, skate parks are tough, man. They don't really make money. And the girl's like, yeah, I don't think he knew that.
It's the third time you told me. It's still funny.
I was like, he didn't know that. I was like, I thought everyone that opens a skate park just knows it's never gonna make
No,
money.
that's why there's so many skate parks.
a
Because
passion
people
project.
don't know that somehow.
Oh, jeez, it's so tough.
I always say the only thing dumber than opening a restaurant is a skate park.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Both are pretty dumb.
Oh, my, gotta get this.
Oh yeah, Googe tuning in from the back of the van in the woods.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Gooch, how's Thunder Mountain? We were talking about.
Do they got lightning or just thunder?
We were talking about the trip camping earlier and vacations, and I think for my trip when I close the skate park around Labor Day, I think I'm gonna head out that way. Maybe stop at Thunder and see Googe. Head out to Maine. I like that skate park in Portland. Looks freaking awesome.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it looks sick.
There's some really cool restaurants in Portland too. That's where Taylor was
Really?
for a little while. Yeah, yeah.
Didn't we say we were going to do some trip up to like Vermont or something to go rip mountain bikes? Or was that
Maybe.
Thunder Mountain we were talking about?
Thunder's in Mass.
Right. Okay, maybe that's
It's
what
like Central Mass, I think. Western Mass. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I'm really excited about some of these guests coming up. Really legit people.
who share a lot of the same experiences as you.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
it's like.
Well, Dave's never been in the bike industry. How could he be jaded?
No. No, Jaden was on the
Oh, here you go.
podcast.
What?
I got another person replying. Adam writes.
That name sounds familiar.
owns Further Trail Services. He was formerly on the Grok board, Genesee Regional Off-Road Cyclist, and then he worked for IMBA, the International Mountain Bike Association, and he traveled the United States building trails all over the country. And he lives here in Penfield.
Oh, no kidding.
And so I reached out to him, like, if he would come on the show and talk about building trails, modern, professionally machine-built trails. And he's a super nerd. When he gave his presentation to the Penfield Town Board for the Shadow Pines project, it was extraordinarily well done. He's very well spoken. That'll be a fun one.
Sick. Can't wait.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. I had literally no guests lined up, and this morning I just started texting people that I had on the burner,
Yeah.
and then everyone got back to me, and I'm like, all right, pick dates, So right now I'm probably booked almost till August on the show. Prince James wants to come on, so he's going to get on here one of these times.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I was with him
dude.
today.
Prince James? Yeah.
His name's Mark.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. I was with him today. He was agrees. He's awesome.
That checks out. He's a good dude.
He's really good.
Very
He's
talented bicyclist.
very talented, very down to earth, super humble guy. He's again, like I said about Jack, he's one of those dudes who in the Rochester like BMX group chat, every single I'm going to Breaking Free, who's coming?
There's a
Yo, I'm
Rochester
going to
BMX
Greece.
group chat?
Yeah, but it's all the young guys. It's all the
Are
young
you in it?
guys and Curtis.
I am definitely not in any group chat.
No. I don't know if I would want to put Dave in a group chat. Dave doesn't like group chats.
Is it like a text group chat or an
No, it's a
Instagram
Snapchat group chat.
Oh, Snapchat.
Gross.
It's like me.
I use Snapchat for
Ed.
one thing. If you put me in that group chat, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yep.
Toothless Tuesday?
No.
It's like me, Ed, Adam, Curtis is in there. Mark. Nate is in it.
Yeah, I know Nate's in there.
Yeah, it's all those guys. But again, like Mark all the time. Yo, I'm going to Greece. Yo, I'm going to Breaking Free. Yo, I'm going to Rock City. Like, who's coming? It's like, oh, I can't today. I've got, to do this. All right, cool. Let me know when you can go. Like, I want to come. Like, always very like, yo,
Do not come.
do not come. He's sick. He's definitely, much like I said about Jack, like Jack's kind of a glue in the scene. Mark is a glue in the scene. He keeps
See if
everyone
Redbeard
together.
wants to come on. Be an interesting guy to talk
Oh,
to.
yeah. I always
Yeah.
forget Redbeard's here again.
He's here again.
He comes here every once in a while. I've seen him.
Talk about his future race career, his current.
Did you say Ray's career?
I want
Race.
to
Race
get
car
Redbeard
driver.
and Bailey together for a show.
You don't have to say anything. It'd be awesome. Shout out to Sean Danik, by the way. That was an
What a man, dude.
excellent time. What a cool setup.
Let me paint the picture for the
Dude, I
podcast
saw the pictures
listeners.
for that.
It was
so cool.
beautiful.
If there's anyone still here, hour 40 in on this rambling. Sean
We had
Danik.
10 last time I looked.
I
Sean
gotta be up for work at
Danik
5.
was on the episode earlier. He was in the Rad Dad podcast. We talked about like just doing it with kids, getting it done. Awesome dude. He lives way out on the east side of the city. He has this awesome house in the middle of a freaking field, and he has like this garage pole barn looking thing with like a deck on top and a roll in, and then a couple jumps. And it's literally like this deck on top of his garage into this ramp and just giant booter jump
into a mulch landing.
Yeah, mulch landing. And he put a thing, hey, this Monday I'm having people over. It's a Monday night, And I got to go out, which is really, really rare that I get to do anything in the scene. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Monday night, let's go. So I went. And I couldn't believe how many people showed up. There was a ton of riders there, and it was a great time.
So sick.
Just like great vibes.
The pictures of it, like seeing it on everybody's stories, was so cool.
The vibes are good because there's only one person on a 20-inch bike.
There's two of us.
Who?
Some other mountain bike kid brought his 20-inch bike.
Oh, right. That was Schulte.
Schulte, yeah.
What's his name?
Kid Rips.
His little brother's really good, Cole.
Yeah. He was doing those like. We were
table whips.
Yeah. We were standing up on the deck. He's like, "Should I do a 1-footer or a whip?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I can't do that." I'm like, "All right, fine, just do a 1-footer." And he did like a real boned out 1-footer. It was real sick. It was awesome, man. What a cool scene! Like the kids running around driving Barbie cars into other stuff. That picture you made of the kid driving.
Mia, yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Well, my
dude.
wife and baby were supposed to come, but Dara was not feeling great. She's sick. But it was great. It was just a great scene. Great scene. That's good vibes. It was Danik's birthday. That's why I was there.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And then after we left, they shot all those awesome photos. It's like,
In the dark.
of course, I come out and take photos. And like one of the 3 people who are better than me at taking pictures shows up. I'm like, frick. Those photos were freaking awesome, too.
Did you bring a
Yeah.
bike?
I didn't even bring a bike. I asked Blaze, I was like,
It's so cool. I get to do something in the scene. Doesn't bring a bike.
I shot photos.
Yeah, Dave shot some sick. He shot
I saw
one of
it.
the best tail photos I've gotten in years.
I saw it. They
That
looked
was very,
sick.
very good. Makes that jump look way bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Everyone was very impressed by a very small tail up I did.
I mean, that's a huge jump.
I didn't think it was that big.
It's like a 6-foot lip, 7-foot lip. Whatever. We don't do the same stuff.
Yeah, I say that about ledges that are 18
Yeah,
inches
yeah.
high. I'm like, oh, that's a tall ledge, bud.
Yeah, basically, when Dara failed because she didn't want to go and whatever, I text Blaze. I'm like, hey, you want to go? He said yes. Carpool, yes. And then in my mind, I'm like, all right, if I drive, my bike's already in my truck. And Blaze said, I'll drive. I go, not bringing a bike.
I didn't know that. We could have thrown it in the back, but
That
whatever.
I wasn't gonna.
That wasn't really your scene.
Yeah, I would have jumped the other line probably.
I would argue that line's harder than that jump.
Yeah, but for me, it's not about technical skill. It's about testicular fortitude.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Dude, Bailey was the highlight though, jumping through the
Oh my god.
in the dark, fully braked into the to the top of the roll-in, and then bunny hopping 3.5 feet somehow, squish jump into this roll-in, going somehow way too fast at this tabletop, and then getting through the other two is awesome.
Yeah, he made.
That was the most BMX mountain bike session I've ever been a part of.
That is true.
That was
Very, very true.
the feeling was very BMX. Bike, the kind of bike didn't really matter, but the way everyone was riding and hyping each
culture
other
of
up,
it.
yeah, it was very, very backyard
Yeah,
BMX feeling.
The vibes were awesome.
It was so good.
Awesome. What a cool dude! It's so cool. His house is in this field.
It's literally in a field.
What do they call it when they let a field go? Is it fallow? They'll do a cover crop, and it's like a mix of stuff, and they just kind of let it grow up so they could till it over to get nutrient into the soil. So it's just like this mowed patch with these jumps around maybe waist height mixed grasses, wheats, something like that. So it's aesthetically, it was just really, really interesting.
Just doing box jumps on a field.
It was also the most photographed session I've been a part of. Every time I looked out, it was like a bunch of wildlife photographers. You were in the bush with your camo shirt on, looking around with the lenses 4 feet out of the camera. It's got 3 different people shooting photos.
Laying down
I'm
on the
trying to
ground,
get my
cameras on a
money's worth.
bipod.
Yeah.
I get my money's Max Schulte, the kid's dad.
Yeah.
He's a photographer for one of the news channels.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
He was very nice.
Nice dude. Great time.
Everyone was so nice.
It's cool to hear about
Highlight of the week.
stories about that of the scene's still here. It's cool
Yeah, it's
seeing that
mountain
stuff.
biking.
Yeah, yeah.
Mountain biking's sick. It's just different bikes.
More
Doing the same
expensive.
stuff. Way more expensive. Unless you have carbon wheels on your
I'm not
20.
gonna say it.
True. What?
Jay was talking shit about mountain bikes on
Oh,
the
he did-
podcast.
he
He was
did.
like, "Yeah, it's not mountain biking." It's like, "Yeah, that's what happens when you don't invest in your scene." Because everyone gets
True.
on a mountain bike. If you got all those kids stoked on kink bikes and BMX and did something for the scene, then they might not be on mountain bikes, but whatever.
Speaking of bikes, and again, this is one of those things that I probably would ask you in the lobby anyways. What are we doing 4th of July?
Oh,
It's
the
a
4th
month
of
away.
July, 100 mile. Tell you something. I'm sweating this one, dude.
I'm a little worried.
I rode the other day, and my butt hurt while I was riding, which is a really, really bad scene when you're going to look at a 10-hour day on the bike saddle.
I climbed a set of stairs yesterday, and I'm a little worried for myself.
I rode tryout the other day.
I saw it with Scott, right?
Yep.
Shout out
So
Scott
for
Mackay.
the chat, every year now, for what? This is the 8th year, I think.
This will be my 5th year.
We do a 100-mile bike ride on the 4th of
Sometimes
July.
120 or 30.
With 4,000, 5,000 feet of
And-
elevation gain around a lake.
What Kyle is saying is that we haven't been riding as much as we normally ride. And as you could probably presume, 100 miles on the bike typically requires some level of training and endurance
And beer.
and beer. So, although this year I think we're supposed to do a full canal ride, which would be very chill. So if anyone in the group chat or anyone
In the chat.
in the chat or that listens to this, if you are interested in trying to do a 100-mile bike ride at the most casual pace you
Come
could
with us.
possibly be, we're talking leaving at 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and riding all day until 7 o'clock at night.
We generally get
Hit
back
me up.
around the time that the fireworks are going off back in the city. So you
Not always.
Unless
missed it a couple
Dara
years.
and I both show up late, and then we ride to Letchworth and back, and all die. Then we miss the fireworks. So
Yeah.
generally, on a
it's just
mellower
the
ride.
past 2 years we missed the fireworks. Normally
Yeah.
we do the big loop, and it's not like we have time to go home and shower and make the fireworks. We're doing all canal this year, which means we'll probably go all the way to Macedon, turn around, come back through the city, all the way to Brockport, and then back to the city. So it's sorry. If you're on the canal, it's almost entirely
It's so
flat. It is super, super chill.
I rode last year. I woke up on like a Tuesday. I had off from work, and I was going out to Buffalo to see a concert. Woke up at like 8. So, well, I got nothing going on. A friend of mine's coming to the concert with me. Guess I'll just throw my bike in her car when I get there. I'm just going to ride to Buffalo, and I'll make it in time for this concert. And it was like 103 miles. Took me 7.5, 8 hours. Straight there the whole time. It was the most boring ride I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just watched podcasts the whole time, mounted my bike on my phone, and just looked down.
Mounted your bike on your phone? That's
Mounted
crazy.
my phone on my bike and just looked
that
down.
makes a lot more sense.
But it was incredibly boring, but it was something to do.
Yeah, 100-mile bike rides by yourself.
Suck.
It's
I don't want to do it again.
yeah.
I probably
100 miles
will,
with your buddies in the canal is great. You're just talking to this person, talking to that person. And the nice thing about riding 100 miles with a big group is that usually only 1 or 2 people are dying at a time.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a period where you feel like you're dying, then you kind of recoup, and then someone else is dying. And when you're the one that's dying, but everyone else feels okay. Nick Nagood said, do you say canal or do you say anal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
The cool thing about just like the rides in general is it's not some pedal to the metal, full speed, Dave sprint walking through a Target. Like it's it's cool, it's chill. We get food, we get ice cream, we get
Sometimes
beer
you
at every
eat
single
3
stop.
square meals at a gas station.
Dave
At the
falls
same
asleep
gas
on his
station.
bike and crashes.
Yes, true.
On the way
I
to
had
get-
7 ice creams one time. So,
Just so much beer and so much ice cream. I don't know how you
I'm gonna
didn't
wrap this
throw
thing
up.
up here. I'm gonna wrap
Bring this
thing-
down for a landing. It's getting out of
Bring this thing
control.
home. If you
Bring this plane down for a landing.
if you're interested in joining us for a 100-mile bike ride in the 4th of July, hit me up. Literally everyone is welcome. It'll be a great introductory ride for 100 miles because we're going to go out of the city and back. You will have an out around 50 miles, which is a good
Which
place
is a great time.
to have an out. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the skate park goes, I do want to say it is Wednesday the 4th. That means this Friday will be the open mic night. So open mic night, first Friday of the month.
Can't
Let's
wait
go.
to see Stevie do 45 minutes of Trump. Or 5 minutes.
Who's the
4 to 5 minutes.
I will
Who's the
say-
comedian that he normally does?
Norm.
Norm, yeah.
McDonald.
Trump McDonald.
There's no point of saying this because as I already established, women aren't allowed to listen to this podcast nor come to the skate park. But ladies' night this month is going to be, we're doing a little barbecue thing. So any of you men that identify as ladies, because it's Pride Month, you can come to ladies' night. There's going to be barbecuing. That's on the 3rd Monday of the month. Yeah, you guys are getting weird.
He's pointing lenses at me, man.
I was looking at you.
Okay. Yeah, as always, thank you for everyone in the chat. This has been a pretty lively chat this time. I love it. I love that most people in the chat
Rob Hovey.
have been
He's
on the
probably been here the whole
podcast.
time.
So shout out to the chat.
Oh, we died.
Camera's too hot. We're too hot.
We're
dude.
too hot.
Yeah, I'm going to have to address this hot camera thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave,
you guys
thanks
all
for
know
everything you do.
the deal. Hit us up on Patreon if you want to support the skate park. It's really important this time of year. We have a lot of really exciting guests coming up. I'm super excited about all these people. They're going to be really fun episodes. And
Set up the Patreon. Just put in $1, $5, $10, and forget about it all summer.
Yep.
It's less money than whatever other stupid streaming thing that you watch and don't watch and use. And it's important. I did it. I don't think about it.
Nope.
It's important.
cool.
Any money you can.
Come to the skate park.
Yeah, come ride.
Shout out
Even
to
when it's nice
everyone
out.
in
Some-
the chat.
If your friends need
Ralphie,
bike repairs,
Jimmy,
tell them to come here.
Googe,
Hovey,
Hovey,
Austin Johns,
Edward,
Ed. Yep.
Did we not have
Jake.
Stevie in the chat this time?
Stevie
Austin
worked today.
Scammell.
He's tired.
Oh,
Yeah, shout out everyone. Kyle, Blaze, thanks for being on the show.
thanks for having us.
Thanks for letting me ruin it.
Yeah.
That's a hard yeah, dude.
That was a little personal.
Jeez. All right, I won't be on the next family one.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad that the family podcast are just me and Blaze. It's awesome.
I mean, you guys were last time. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to regularly do these ones where it's just a little more chill and laid back, different flavor, So, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you at the skate park later. Keep grinding.